What's up, folks? Welcome back to another edition of All Things Baltimore Sports Foul Ball Talk. I'm the host, Matt Trigger. With me is my esteemed co-host, Tim Malarkey. We are back after a nice little hiatus. I was on vacation this week. Tim, what's going on, buddy?
Matt, what is going on, brother? You're not allowed to go on Fat Boy summer vacation unless it's the All-Star break again, because somehow you went on vacation and the Orioles forgot how to play baseball until today. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating that bad of a stretch with the Baltimore Orioles. I'll tell you that. It was rather crazy to see us get swept by the Cubs. I actually watched majority of the games while I was on vacation, and today was quite the roller coaster before the All Star break.
It was. I don't know if you want to pull this up real quick. I'll share the screen. Just set the tone a little bit here for this podcast. I think the fans deserve it. Today was my neighbors probably hate me. It is what it is. But let me know when you got it pulled up, Matt.
It is ready to go.
Play Holmes. Mullins to left. Verdugo started in, and the Orioles are going to win it. Oh, my! Welcome to Club Sid.
Bastard.
Beautiful fashion. Beautiful fashion.
Yeah, the bastard was for Craig Kimball and nobody else.
I'll tell you what, though, nobody ran out to get the Seti faster than Kimbrel did. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, because he saved him from his 7th or 8th blown save this year, which he still got anyway, but he got the win instead of the loss.
Exactly. So Orioles turned it on when it mattered late in the game. Avoided the sweep of the series, avoided the back-to-back sweep. I don't know. Not much to say about the Cubs series. There wasn't much baseball played on the Orioles' part, so there's really not much to talk about there. We had no offense for a stretch of 4 or 5 games now. Today they decided to get it done. We did have, we'll touch on this in a little bit, the benches clearing incident. I want to get your thoughts on that. You have probably seen me, if you're tuning in now via Twitter, or if other people are tuning in and not on Twitter, you have seen me being a menace towards Yankee fans over the last 72 hours.
I have, and I've partaken in some of it on my own. Before we go any further, I want to, get this out of the way with regards to today's events. It's been a rather tough day for Baltimore sports fans. Our beloved, rightful Super Bowl 47 MVP Jacoby Jones passed away last night. I know you and I talked about it earlier. We weren't going to really say anything about it until it was confirmed, but his family confirmed it. The team confirmed it. Multiple former teammates have confirmed it. We do send our condolences to the Ravens organization, the Jacoby Jones family, and it was just a sad thing to see somebody that meant a lot to this city passing away. So just wanted to get that out of the way before we dig deep into this Orioles baseball situation.
No, I mean, definitely first and foremost condolences to the Jones family. I know he's got Jacoby Jr. and he had a great relationship with his mother. I had the pleasure to meet him a couple times, and he was a bigger personality, but even a bigger heart. He was an awesome guy. He didn't care who you were, what walk of life you came from. He would give you his time of day, and he would crack a joke while doing it. He was a great guy, and I thought, since this is a Orioles podcast, that today's win was rather poetic in terms of sports in general. The opposing team's defender makes a wrongful play on a long ball, and it ends up costing the game to that team, and the Baltimore sports teams win. So little bit of gives you a little bit of chills thinking about that. That's how the game ended, and maybe there was Jacoby had a little bit to say about that. So definitely a sad, sad day in Baltimore.
It was. Jacoby, rightfully should have been the Super Bowl 47 MVP. Of course, they gave it to the quarterback, Joe Flacco, and we don't get there without Jacoby. And we don't win that Super Bowl without Jacoby because, of the plays he made. He scored 3 of probably the top 5 most important touchdowns in the history of our organization. So I'll leave that there.
Mile High Miracle, baby.
Mile High Miracle, the 108-yard return to pretty much seal the Super Bowl before the lights went out. And then, his touchdown catch towards the end of the game. It's sad. I know quite a few of Ravens on that team, and I've reached out to a couple of the guys. A couple reached out to me, and a lot of them are distraught. I know a lot of guys are taking it really hard. One in particular is Bernard Pollard. So Bernard, if you happen to be seeing this, I know that you do tune in. Keep your head up, brother. I talked to him earlier today, but moving on. The Cup Series was rough to watch. We played down to the level of competition because the Cubs had no business beating us 2 out of 3, let alone sweeping us. So, I'm not thrilled about that. Our bets, quieted down considerably, Tim. This Yankee series, I want to say this wholeheartedly. F the Yankees. I'm not going to go on a cussing tangent or tirade.
I knew it was coming.
Their fan base makes my ass itch, and I can't help but get irritated so much when I hear these people cry, and I read it, and I'm seeing them crying on social media about the Orioles being a dirty team. To date, the Orioles have hit, I think, 4 of their batters.
Yeah, it was 3, and then 10. We plunked Judge today.
I mean, they've hit they hit 10 of our batters so far.
Correct.
In this season alone, we've hit 4. They've hit Gunnar twice. They've hit Kjerstad twice. They've hit Westberg twice.
Yep.
They lead the league in hit batters. They average almost a hit batter per game. It's almost like if you play the Yankees, you're guaranteed one of your 9s getting hit.
Yes, and I don't know if you saw this. I shared it on Twitter, but John Boy, they do the great breakdowns. They did he's a Yankees fan, but he did a great breakdown, and he was point blank. He said that he actually pulled the video and did the stat on the Yankees pitching up and in, and how that's what they like to do to the Orioles, and how the Orioles do not do that to them. The Yankees do it to the Orioles, and he went through all of them. And while I won't condone and say that pitch was intended to hit Kjerstad in the head, that pitch was intended to hit him. He was trying to hit him. He wasn't trying to hit him in the head, but nonetheless, he was still trying to hit him. And he threw that ball up and in. It got away from him a little bit more than it should have, and you plunked him in the head. That goes with 10 hits against the Orioles. The Orioles now have 4 Judge. They plunked Judge today. Kramer went out and did that in the 1st or 2nd inning, I believe. But still, I mean, and it wasn't like it was a change or anything like that. It was 97 miles per hour to the batter who happened to be the hottest hitter on the team over the series and the series prior. So, I know people are saying that when Hyde went out there because the pitcher Holmes wanted to apologize or come up and check on Kjerstad, and Hyde turned around and gave him the big FU. And, people are saying that that's what initiated the chirping, which is wrong. If you want to see proof, you can go on my social media and have it. The moment Kjerstad is laying face down in the dirt, the Yankees are literally sitting there laughing and pointing. They are already in chirp mode. They're laughing at Kjerstad being in the dirt. They're pointing at him. Then Hyde goes out and drops a big FU. And then you have the series of events that unfolded and led to the benches clearing. So it's warranted. Would any team allow one of their hottest hitters, a rookie, to get plunked in the head and not have the manager go out there and raise hell, especially if your team has been hit 10 times to 3 times? if he didn't go out there and raise hell as a Yankee fan, if that happened to your manager, like you're raising hell that he didn't go out there and run his mouth. So the right thing happened.
No, absolutely the right thing happened. There's no doubt in my mind about it. It was totally 100%. Hyde was in the right. Now, a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, not any fist being thrown.
No. O'Hearn wanted to throw a fist. He was held back.
And Freddie Gonzalez likes to get in the mix. I forever am now a Freddie Gonzalez guy. He wanted some smoke, and I was all about that.
Freddie was up there right in the front. He had 2 collars. He was holding 2 collars, and it was actually Cole. Garrett Cole was the one that calmed him down. I don't know what their relationship is, but if you watch it in slow-mo, Cole kind of calms Freddie down, and Freddie gives him a nice pat on the cheek and like a pat on the back and is like, thank you. And that's when he falls back into the pile. So Freddie Gonzalez is a baseball guy. Cole's been around. Like, I guess that there might be some kind of relationship there. But he was hot, and I am forever a Freddie Gonzalez fan for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Freddie Gonzalez is solid. It's kind of crazy that they didn't eject Gonzalez, considering he was a lot more physically aggressive, and they ejected Hyde. I mean, there's 2 outs left in the game at that point, or 1 out left in the game at that point. Why you eject Hyde is beyond me. But
and also, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but Gunnar got ejected. It was the night prior, I believe. It was the first game of the series at his very last at bat. He was the last at bat with the game ending. And the game was over. He technically did get ejected. But that was over a strikes and ball call, last out of the game.
I have been very, very partial to Gunnar Henderson this year. I have done nothing but praise him, and I'm going to criticize him for the first time on this show right now. He's got to stop looking at third strikes. Like,
I was about to say, are you going to say not swinging at strike 3?
He struck out looking 9 times in however many games, but it's been 9 times so far. Swing the goddamn bat. I mean, I don't care what you do. Don't strike out looking. Like, I mean, what are you waiting for? I understand he's a very patient hitter, and he's been patient since he got to Baltimore. I'm not discrediting that. I'm not discounting that. None of the above. But you need to swing at the goddamn ball. I know about the metrics. I know about the analytics. I know about all that's going on. It just irritates me when I see Gunnar Henderson look at strike 3. Actually, any of them for that matter. But Gunnar has been doing that a lot lately, and I know he hit number 28 today. Stephanie begrudgingly sent me a message with number 28 with an eye roll. So I know that he is on a solid pace to probably hit 50 home runs this year, if not 55, depending how he progresses in the second half of the year. But Gunnar needs to get that under control. I hope that tomorrow night he doesn't do damage to his swing. And, I want to see him walk out of there champion, but if he gets a first round exit, I wouldn't be heartbroken.
No, and as Pigtown Sports just said, yeah, thanks for pulling it up right there. There's no way the best hitter on your team should go down without a fight often. I mean, it happens. It's going to happen. There's going to be a couple times every 2 or 3 weeks where he thinks that pitch is outside and he looks at it, and it's painted on the corner and strike 3 is called. But majority of these haven't really even been close. And to me, that worries me a little bit because he's guessing. I would give him the benefit of the doubt. There's one thing going on with Gunnar this specific week since his home run derby was announced that I don't really like to see. And it is what it is. He's not going to not practice, but he's been practicing for the derby. So he's been having Buck Britton stand out there in batting practice and they're running timers and throwing, he's getting lobs thrown to him and he's, practicing for the home run derby. And that takes you out of your normal routine. And then, you go out there and get 120 balls thrown at you practicing for a home run derby. And then you step into a game against, Garrett Cole. Like I don't know. Hopefully we have a spectacular night tomorrow night. He gets back on track. It's evident that these guys really need this rest, this break. We have some people that we haven't really, talked bad about too much often that are struggling right now. Westberg, Adley. We can touch on Adley if you want. That's a frustrating situation for me. He is I think he's 1 for 19. He went 0 for 4 with a walk today, I believe. I don't have it in front of me. That's just off the top of my head, but he's 1 for his last 19. I'm going to
say something controversial.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm so sorry.
I was going to say Westberg is also not looking the part. He's taking some really ugly swings. I don't know. I'm chalking it up as that these guys need to get to the break. It's been a grueling last 2 months for them. I mean, we can count the off days on one hand over a 2-month span, and it's been hot. I mean, I know these guys play baseball. It has been a really rough, last 4 weeks of baseball for these guys.
Yes, it has. I'm going to say something somewhat controversial, and you may or may not agree with me. And just to preface this, we don't talking points before the show as much as we do just kind of ballpark it, but not, no pun intended, but for the future of this franchise and for the sake of this offense, Adley needs to move to DH and first base. Mountcastle is not going to be here past this year. If he is, I'd be shocked. Basayo needs to be the catcher moving forward, or you got to go get somebody that will split time with Basayo. Adley's hitting numbers, his average as a DH and his average as a catcher is almost 100-point difference.
It is. It's 215 to 305 or something like that.
It was 235 as behind the plate, and it was 325 as a DH.
There you go.
So, to me, Adley excels in the hitting department more so when he's laboring behind the plate for 9 innings. As we've seen, people do run on him. I'm not saying that you got to start McCann, but if you got Basayo sitting in the minors, you can platoon them and make them split reps at first base, catcher, DH, somewhere in there next year moving forward. Adley's bat is invaluable. I know he's going through a rough spot right now, but Adley is probably going to hover around that 280 to 305 batting average for the majority of the time that he's in the major leagues. And I would rather have that than have him hitting 240 and him catching 145 games.
I will tee off on this. I'm going to first add fuel to the fire a little bit and let you know that that rally that the Yankees went on with 4 hits in a row today. Not today. It was when Adley was catching last. He called all 4 hits were 4 change-ups over the middle. And to me, it's if you're calling the pitches, the first one gets hit, cool, you try it again, second one gets hit. How you calling 4 of them in a row? And some of his catching stuff has been questionable. And I'm being critical right now of him. I love him. I think he's a generational player. Don't get me wrong. His catching specifically to me right now hasn't been the best stuff. Other than his blocks, if you look up his other, the catcher rated stats, he's in the 20s to 25th, I think is his average rank in MLB, which is not what a lot of people think because, you turn on the radio, you turn on TV, he's the face of the Orioles. Of course, we love him. He's, like I said, he's a generational player, so he gets this praise. But to the average fan, he's not, he is not being criticized the way that he should right now. And it's a little bit concerning. I mean, I hear you on the DH and first base role. I'm going to one-up you because if he does take first base, I think Mountcastle's out regardless. If he does play first base, that's clogging a hole for all of the talent we have now. The thing about Adley is I think he has the potential with his numbers being a 300-plus hitter at DH. He's a switch hitter also, Matt. You don't have to go. Hyde loves his damn matchups. You don't have to match up with Adley. Adley could literally be a permanent DH. He could be a permanent DH. He's a switch hitter. He doesn't have to play a position. He could DH every night and go left or right depending on the pitcher. It's that simple. I think I worry.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and I worry about him being at first base, filling a void for Mayo and some of these young guys we have coming up. But I think in 20 days, we might need to circle back on this conversation depending on what happens. I don't know. I don't hate the idea of Adley moving to full-time DH, having Basayo come up. He's too young, so we're talking 2 years out right now, but he looks good for where he's at now as Creed. So we do have another catcher, and I was talking to Pigtown before the draft went tonight, and he was saying he wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles took a catcher tonight at 22 or 32, whatever it may fall to. MLB draft's hard to talk about, especially when Elias is your GM because he likes to pull these web gems out. But who knows?
Yeah, I agree with what Pigtown Sports said. Adley catching once or twice a week would be ideal, and letting him be the DH 3 to 4 times a week is even more ideal. I don't agree that Basayo is 2 years away. I think that you seriously have to evaluate the rest of the year for him, whether he, shows that he can withstand catching more often than playing first base or DH. And I also believe that over the offseason, you got to really consider, are you going to go out and get somebody that's an offensive upgrade over McCann? I like McCann. I think McCann's a fantastic clubhouse guy, but he's a black hole when it comes to hitting. Do you go out and get an Elias Diaz? Do you go out and, find somebody of the caliber of Austin Wells to catch for you 3 times a week? You can mix this up, and I know this Orioles organization values versatility. So if you can have Adley step out onto first base 1 time a week and have him DH 3 times and have him catch twice, and you can swing Basayo in there and Mayo, however you want to do it, but it's got to be done. It's absolutely got to be done. I'm not overreacting, I don't believe, but when Adley's behind the plate, I think that he exerts so much energy being a great defensive catcher that it affects his offense.
Yep, I agree. And I think we're forgetting the fact, how old's Basayo? 19?
He is.
He's the touted, best thing to come out of the first and best thing to come out of the international market that Elias and co have set up and pulled together. So I'm excited for him. And like Pigtown said, I mean, that you make him your everyday DH. He gets to start as a catcher every 4 days to give your Basayo a break. I can
if you can reclassify him before he's due a contract, if you can reclassify him as something else before he's due a huge extension, you might not have to pay premium catcher money.
He cost way less money. Yep. He costs way less money.
Although, it remains to be seen. We haven't really talked contracts, and that's something we really shouldn't be getting into anyway. It's at the midway point of the year. But another thing I want to talk about, we kind of touched on the All-Star game. It's cool to see Tony make it as an injury replacement for Kyle Tucker.
Yep.
He had his June made up for his abysmal April and May. So I'm happy that Tony's getting some recognition. it's kind of difficult because I know Tony's not going to be here next year either.
Yeah, it is.
We
And
got way
I
too
love,
many. We got way too many guys that needed to get on the Major League 26.
that's how I feel about it too. I love him to death, but the cavalry has arrived, so to speak. And of course, while we're saying this, he hit a yak onto the field or onto the flag court, and he actually, fun fact, tied Chris Davis for most Utah street plaques today. So he needs one more to have the most Utah street plaques as an Oriole. Don't forget it.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely be difficult, but we have not only this year to worry about, but we have the next couple to worry about. And it's sad that Mullins is starting to heat up because Mullins isn't going to be here next year. Neither is Hayes, unless Hayes is relegated to that fourth outfield spot, unless that's what they are going to make Kyle Stowers the next couple years.
And they got to figure it out. Our division's not changing. The Yankees aren't changing. The Red Sox aren't changing. This is the division in baseball. They have to figure it out for my sanity too. My wife almost divorced me yesterday after being swept by the Cubs and 2 Yankee L's in a row.
She's mad aggressive, bro.
She had to check me. I was not being a very nice human yesterday. And she knew it was like strictly on the fact that I had about everything I could handle, from 3 straight L's to the Cubs to having to deal with Yankees fans in my DMs all day yesterday. I just couldn't. I was not having it. So today has flipped it a little bit, but that's just me saying our division is not changing. It's not going anywhere. The Rays are bad, and most of the time they're sneaky good. So, we're in, I would say, arguably the most competitive division in baseball. Every single roster move that you make counts.
She's listening. So let's bring to the airwaves what we talk about in text messages constantly. This is going to lead into the trade talk of the week because it's starting to heat up. The Kansas City Royals paid an absurd amount for Hunter Harvey.
The Nationals are out here fleecing people, Matt. They're going to be good real quick.
They're going to be good in a couple years. Jackson Holiday.
Oh, here we go.
This is a polarizing figure. This is a polarizing figure in Birdland. So
I can't even hold my smile back because you already know where I'm going to go.
There is something amiss in the Jackson Holiday of it all with this Baltimore Orioles organization. I'm going to go out and publicly say a lot of this that has been fueled has been a result of dealing with his father. From spring training until right now, Matt Holliday does not shut up. He was never an Oriole, so I don't care. I know he's a World Series champion, but he never won a World Series for us. So I digress. Jackson. I know Jackson's starting to pick it up in the minors a little bit. As Picktown Sports said in the comments, he's 3 for 5 tonight with 2 doubles. Yes, he is. Something isn't clicking when it comes to watching this dude play baseball. I talked to my father-in-law while we were on vacation about it. He thinks that somebody got in his head about his swing and it jacked him up. I personally think he just is ready for a reset somewhere else already because he came back crashing down to earth. He's been the best everywhere he's been, and he's been touted as the son of a major leaguer since he was old enough to play baseball. That's followed him everywhere from little league to middle school to high school to the minors. He's been the best. He's been the best everywhere he's been. And then he comes up here and gets the reality check of a lifetime that every pitcher that you see is filthy to some degree because they're pitching in the major leagues. And we've said that before on this show openly. I'm not saying that they're going to trade Jackson Holiday, but would it surprise me if Jackson Holiday is dealt? No. Tim, I want you to take over on this because you have thought this thing out. You have touched on this. You have talked about this with Pigtown Sports. You've talked about this repeatedly.
So I'll just tee off on where you left it. There's something that just doesn't. I don't know what it is, and I saw his family at the games a lot. You see the videos of him in the clubhouse, and some say he's focused, some say he's quiet, some say he's too young. It's just whatever it is isn't clicking, as you would say, and that's even in Norfolk. You can go watch the Norfolk cams. He's like it looks like he's the kid that has no friends in the dugout. It's weird. But I don't know if it's like you said, someone got in his ear about his swing. I don't know if, it's his dad got in his ear about whatever is going on. What I think it is we all can remember when we played Little League, right? When we played sports, it doesn't have to be baseball. If you're watching, it could be any sport that you played. There's always that one kid that has all the best equipment. Everyone tells him he's the best. He goes through his middle school ranks being unstoppable. Everybody wants him on his team. He's picked first. He's got all the friends, and he's always a little bit cocky. Now, what happens to that kid when he runs into a team or a group of players that are better than him, that are way better than him?
He shuts down.
It's almost sort of like a mental, like, I'm doomed. It's over. I'm never going to make it. And I think that he might be dealing with some of that mental right now where he ran into a wall. He flew through the system even before he was in the minor league system, before he was even drafted. He was, touted as the number one pick, the best player. He's going to be a freak. It's Holiday's son. And he is a freak. He's extremely talented. He hit that wall head on because no one in his life had ever told him something ain't right. All he had ever heard was, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. And now he got told, he got up and looked at a couple fastballs and said, oh my God. I think he's going to turn into be a great player.
The fastball's not sitting at 92.
No, it's not.
The fastball's not sitting. It's not sitting at a flat 90 or 92. He was seeing fastballs that are 97 and they're dancing all over the plate.
Yep, looking like freakies.
Now you and I. Right, you and I are we never played baseball at a high level. Pigtown Sports, on the other hand, has. So I do put a lot of stock into what he has said about the situation, just with the Orioles in general. He played minor league baseball. We played minor league baseball on the show on our video game systems. Like, there's a huge varying degree of knowledge there. I'm gonna post this comment from Zach right now. It's mental. Pressing. I believe it's between the he's pressing. I believe it's all between the ears. Now, could we all be overreacting, and could Jackson Holiday be our future second baseman and hit 265, 270 and give us 15 home runs and 35 stolen bases a year? Absolutely. I wouldn't doubt that at all. But if I think the opportunity presents itself, Elias would do it.
He would. And I want to go on the record here and say that I think Holiday is phenomenal. He's going to be a great player. He's a freak of nature. He's going to be a great baseball player. I have fallen back on my he's untouchable thing. And I think if he can net us something, that'll help us go get a ring, why not? Now, do I think it'll be before the All-Star break? Probably not, because Elias isn't a dummy, and the value that Holiday would bring in the offseason versus the value that Holiday would bring in before the trade deadline, thanks to the inflated prices for these pitchers, it's probably, it would be an offseason move. But I think that one other thing I just wanted to hit on, and I had talked to you about this too, is that there's also the aspect of he's been told he's the best. He's the highlight reel. He's the number one his whole life. And he ends up on a team where he's splitting the limelight with Gunnar, Adley, Jordan Westberg, Colton Cowser. The list goes on. This team is full of people. He is not the only spotlight on this team. When he could go out to teams like the Rockies, he could go over to Oakland. He could go be on a team where, oh my God, Jackson Holiday. He doesn't get that in Baltimore. And it's a mental check. Nothing wrong with that. I think just, he has to A, live up to his standards, and B, look at Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman batting in front of him. It does something to you. It really does.
I also believe that, as it stands right now, if you're going to call up an infielder, Norby should get the call first. If you're going to call up a power bat or somebody that you're expecting to spark your lineup, it should be Mayo. And I have a feeling Mayo is going to be here next weekend in Texas. I just got a gut feeling about that. I don't have any prior knowledge because I'm not connected in the baseball world. But I could see Mayo being in Baltimore next week after the All-Star break. It's like, I do agree with you. I think that it's a possibility that he's not the guy. He's not the face of this franchise. It's clearly Gunnar Henderson and Adley, depending on who you talk to. And that's hard. That's hard to deal with. You're young. You got every player's got an ego, no matter what. You're a Major League Baseball player. Of course you got an ego.
I'm not a Major League Baseball player, and I have an ego.
Yes, you do. Yeah, yes, you do, my friend.
I wanted to run this by you, though, real quick, because we've brought his name up a million times, and he has been dropping some great content on Twitter. But I was going to look into this. He beat me to the punch. First half team results, batting average wise, we have 66 games left. So it's a little bit more than half. There's 66 games left in this year. But as it stands right now, O's right-handed hitters finished third in baseball with a 264 average. Lefties, which how many bats in our lineup are lefties, Matt?
I think 6.
Lefties were 14th in baseball with a 244 average. So you got 264 for righties, 244 for lefties.
Do they include Adley in the righties, though?
It would be whatever he took more at bats as.
I think it's left-handed more so than right.
I don't. My Savant's not loading. I would be able to tell you how many at bats he took. Left versus right. Let's see. What do we got here? Give me 1 second. You can keep talking. I'll look it up.
Okay. Zach just said that he was included in both.
Oh, he's included in both. Okay, cool.
So that right-handed batting average is a little skewed. It's nice to see, but I kind of want to talk about. Okay, so what were you saying about what you wanted to touch on? I'm sorry.
I just think that if we are a predominantly left-handed lineup and you hear these calls, these needs, we need a right-handed bat in the outfield. Who's it going to be? I personally think we're probably going to see them take a right-handed bat. Doesn't necessarily have to be outfield. Could be an infielder in the draft tonight. But I mean, and we're not talking ready right now. That's 4 years down the road that this player would make the team. But I think that with all the lefties in the lineup, we need some improvement there. And us and the Yankees are at the top as far as offense. So people might come at you and say, what do you mean? You keep saying you need this offensive improvement. We do, though. It's, we might have the highest slugging rate, whatever you want to call it, in baseball, the most home runs, but we're going on these 4 or 5 game stretches where we're scoring 2 runs. We just went, I forget what it was. I had it and it went away today, but I think we were like 0 for 28 or something with runners in scoring position. That's awful.
It is. It's pitiful. In the draft tonight, I would like to see them either at 22 or 32. Doesn't matter. I know that it's difficult to find good pitching that late into the first round. I'm not saying go get a high school kid, but if you can go find a starting pitcher from college that doesn't necessarily have to be throwing 103, but if you can find somebody that's a bulldog that's throwing 91, 92, that is an innings eater and doesn't have issues where his arm is ready to fall off, take him so we can see him by late 25, early 26 to as a sort of like a cavalry is coming type
You
of
want him to
situation.
go get a Paul Skeens, huh?
It chaps my ass about Paul Skeens because number one, he's in that same draft as Jackson Holiday, and
Yeah.
I know like it was who was going to go number one. Was it going to be Drew Jones Jr.? Is it going to be Jackson Holiday? Is it going to be Skeens? Is it going to? And we went with Jackson, and Paul Skeens is starting in the goddamn All-Star game.
Only 4 have ever done it.
He is an absolute he just for the purpose of our generation of baseball, he reminds me of Roger Clemens.
Mm-hmm.
They have a generational pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope they don't treat him the way they treated Garrett Cole.
Thank God they're in the NL.
Yes, he's absolutely a monster. It is crazy. We're gonna have to go buy some arms. That's gonna happen in okay. I stand corrected. Skeens was the year after.
Bradfield was 23, yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't know if he's gone yet. I was just, if we're touching on draft for 1 second, my one Orioles pick, in case anyone was wondering, I don't know if he'll fall this late, but LSU boy, got to shout out Ben McDonald with his Go Tigers nonsense. But Tommy Tanks, man, when your nickname is Tommy Tanks, you just belong in orange and black. I don't know what else there is to say about that. You should be an Oriole. Your nickname is Tommy Tanks, and he's a right-handed bat. Third baseman, could play outfield eventually, but dude's got the long hair to fit in the club already. A little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, and he hits nukes. And there's Pigtown Sports confirming. So I would love to see a good old Tommy Tanks. That's like I follow all these accounts, and like his home runs are something that are beautiful. Like the little highlight reels of his home runs, I love them. And I hear Ben McDonald talk about them all the time. Ben actually shares his stuff on X from time to time too. So that has been the name for me. The MLB draft is hard. You have to really I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff, but you got to really be in it. There's so many players that are involved. You're evaluating not just college players. It's not like the NFL draft. It's high school. It's not like 3 or 4 high school standouts. Like there's high school pitching up and down the board. So it's tough. I just trust in Elias. Elias will pull a name out of his hat that we've never heard of. And then, a year from now, we'll be like, who the hell is this guy? And that's usually how it goes. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of accustomed to that now. That's what I'm expecting. So an arm that we recently added to the major league team, when we were texting the other day, my literal reaction was the Conor McGregor, who the F is this guy? Birch Smith.
Yes, sir.
In his first appearance with the O's, threw some nasty, filthy stuff on the mound, and they took him out a little bit too early. Yeah, I like the addition to him. I think that we're not done adding to the bullpen. Royals just took a stud pitcher that hit 3 home runs over 490. Yeah, that's lovely.
An American Shohei? Interesting.
An American Shohei. Yeah.
No, but I like the addition of Birch. I was talked off the hill by some homies, one of them Pigtown Sports, when I was like, same thing as you. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I go first and run his ERA and look at his stuff, and like the numbers I'm the numbers guy, so I look at it and I'm like, oof, what? It's got to be an Elias special or something. He sees something, and sure enough, they were like, no, like he's got some stuff if he can locate, like just let it play out. And he came out and looked phenomenal for us. And then we went and got the big red beard. Selby, he's in the minors right now, so he hasn't made his, appearance into the Orioles bullpen, but he also has some really high velocity stuff, really good fastball, will drop a curveball from the top of the zone to the bottom of the zone off a shelf on you. Another guy that needs to work on, be able to locate it, but if he can come through and deliver, he could be really nasty. And it all goes out to Mike Elias. He finds these guys that, and some of them haven't worked out, like Tiago Vera or whatever. And, he finds these guys that have stuff, but need to go hit the Orioles pitching lab down in Florida for a couple weeks. So if he can get one of his 3 that he acquires for the good old cash considerations, my favorite player on the Orioles, why not? We're not losing a prospect, and, you're filling a void in your bullpen with a guy that can go out there and get you a couple innings.
I also want to say this now, not necessarily for my own sanity and to quell expectations by any means, but I am fully expecting us not to acquire Crochet or Skubal. I think that these premiums that these teams want for their arms are ridiculously high.
Laughable.
I think at this point they're going to hold on to Mayo. They're going to hold on to Stowers. They're going to hold on to Norby, Jackson Holiday. If we acquire any starting pitching, it's going to be another Jack Flaherty-esque type of move.
Yep.
The person that I think the pitcher I think we may make a run at is Nathan Eovaldi.
I can dig it. I mean,
I wanted to sign him over the offseason. I'm not just saying that because I think we're going to trade for him. He didn't make a whole lot of money going to the Mariners anyway. I mean, to the Rangers, I'm sorry. So I think if we come out hot and we take 3 out of 4 from the Rangers and they kind of trounce down into the AFC West a little bit, I think Eovaldi would be the move. And I know that he's dealing with a little bit of neck pain right now. It would not shock me if we kick tires on Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer. So that's where I'm at with that. I think it's going to be an old dog veteran that we acquire to bring in. If not, potentially reacquiring Kyle Gibson.
I got 2 things for you. One, I'll confirm that my dark horse, my workhorse, my middle of the price range guy, Bassett from Toronto. I just think Bassett fits all the voids, fills all the holes. He's an Elias type guy. He's, not no injury prone on the list, just a consistent go out there and get innings kind of guy, and he's not going to cost you much. I'm still riding high on Bassett. I have something to run by you that I saw floating around today, and it's interesting. Would you consider trading Corbin Burnes, knowing that you have to lock him up next year with a massive contract ahead of the deadline in order to acquire all of the net that he could bring in? He could bring you in 2 middle of the line starters that are, that are sort of even keel. He could bring you in 3 prospects and 2 draft picks, and then you're not paying him next year. I'm condoning that. That is not how I feel, and I would never be okay with that. But that is the thing that has been floating around the internet today, is the value that you could get for Corbin Burnes right now and avoid having to sign that big deal.
Corbin Burnes should be in black and orange for the next 6 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I
$800
know
million.
10 is a little bit. He is 29 years old, I believe, 28 or 29. He is entering what pitchers are considered their prime years. He is an absolute dog on that mound. Under no circumstance would I trade Corbin Burns.
I was just giving you a reality check.
Yeah. There, somebody on that's engagement farming on Twitter.
I mean, but really, if there was a team out there could offer what his value is, you avoid paying the contract, you get 2 starters, 4 prospects, and holy shit. But I don't think anyone would be willing to do that, especially when you're leading the AL East. So, not something that I would condone, but it was an interesting read for sure.
Yeah.
All right, what's your call tomorrow night before we forget about it? Because I just remembered it. But did we touch on the home run derby yet? Are we talking about that?
Yeah, we talked. My bias pick is Gunnar Henderson. My non-bias pick is Teoscar Hernandez. It's a very underwhelming list of home run derby candidates.
I just want to go out on a limb here and say, please, dear Lord MLB, for the love of the game and for all of the young viewers that you're so-called changing start times and seeking in order to revive baseball, so to speak, please do not put Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar Henderson on the same side of the goddamn bracket. Put them at opposite ends so that if it comes down to it, you can end up with a Gunnar Bobby Witt showdown. If you have these dudes face off in the second round, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Split them. Let them have the ability to match.
What is your prediction for the derby? All things considered.
I think Gunnar Henderson versus Pete Alonso, and then I think Gunnar pulls it off. I don't know if you've seen the clip of him hitting the nukes at practice, but he's been practicing almost too much for this home run derby. I think Gunnar wants to go out there and win this. I really do.
It'd be nice, but I just don't want it to come at the expense of
his swing and your steak, your well done steak.
Okay, speaking of well done steaks, I know I said that in the synopsis I was going to talk about my vacation week briefly, very briefly.
Yeah, we need that Fat Boy Summer recap. What are you doing?
The Fat Boy Summer recap. That was a very, very, very long week. That steak, I'm gonna defend the steak from Ruth Chris first. I know that I got bombarded with messages and comments.
Your whole wheat bread that you got?
Yeah. I ordered a medium well, and I don't frequent that restaurant, so I'm not really I wasn't really sure how they were going to bring the food out. I mean, obviously you don't really think about that, but I wasn't aware that the plate was going to be almost 550 degrees. So
did they butterfly it for you, Matt?
They did not butterfly it. So it was a 550 degree plate. They literally said, don't touch it for about 5 minutes. So my steak kept on cooking, and I cut it open, and it was well done. I personally
still enjoyed
it. Absolutely. But what I ordered and what I got were not the same thing. Then I posted the open cut picture. I should have just left the people wondering with the sizzling video. I don't eat my steak still mooing. So for the heathen that you live with can stop with the commentary and the guys I work with. They're like, oh, medium rare is the way to go. It might as well still be connected to the cow still. Never mind. I'm not gonna go on this rant because I could talk another 25 minutes about how absurd Viking behavior that is for everybody.
Viking behavior.
Yes, absolutely Viking behavior. But I digress. I digress. the most interesting meal that I tried was the peanut butter and habanero jelly wings from the 45th Street Tap House. It sounds crazy, but it ended up being really good. Love that. I actually went to Tap House, I think, twice in my like 6 whole days down there.
Are you a spicy food guy though? Do you like?
I when I was younger, I hated it. I I hated everything spicy, and now as I've gotten older, I love it. There's nothing more that I love is a little bit of spice in my food, and the habanero jelly was like the peanut butter was a weird texture, but it was homemade peanut butter, so it wasn't like they put Jiffy on top of my wings.
Right.
And that was good. The homemade ranch was good, and that went with it.
Best meal though. What was the
best meal? Saltwater 75. I got their Isle of Wight seafood bisque, which was jumbo lump crab meat with corn. It was like a creamy texture, and that was excellent. We had their jumbo lump crab meat caprese. I didn't take a picture of that, but they got truffle fries with their homemade goddess sauce, and that was amazing. I love their penne pasta with their grilled chicken. That was like my go-to when I'm there.
That looked like a tomato basil.
Yeah, almost. It was good. I enjoyed it. The thing is though, when it comes to like overall experience and service, Ruth Chris blew everybody else out of the water. Like their attentiveness, the customer service, the food was excellent though. Like I didn't have anything bad at Ruth Chris. I'm just biased to Saltwater 75 because it's like my favorite place down there. It's the old BJ's on 75th Street on the bay side.
So right next to that is my favorite restaurant down there, the Hobbit. It's in the Rivendell, which is the big condominium place right next door. So that I told you late in this year planning, because we all know you plan your damn meals 6 months in advance, but now now we can add the Hobbit to your list for next year.
Now see, it's crazy. Like I had people message me and they're like, did you work all this overtime just to go eat down at the ocean? And I will say emphatically, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely 100%. I killed myself working overtime to go and partake in Fat Boy Summer activities.
Yeah, but also you're delivering memories for your daughter. My greatest memories, growing up are my family beach weeks every summer. July, it was, the 4th of July week, the week after usually.
Yeah.
And like my parents were lucky enough where we were at the same place, same street every year. And I still have friends. I'm 33 years old and I still have friends that, people I know I stay connected with on social media that I grew up with down there every summer. And that's like part of my, some of my best childhood memories are, the summer vacation at the beach with the fam. So, shout out to all.
Yeah. I did it for, obviously for the girls and all that, and seeing Aubrey light up, and, she loves going to the beach. She loves swimming in the pools. She loves the arcade. We took her to Jolly Rogers. And it was just an overall fantastic experience. But seeing her light up and like she's like a beach kid, man. She loves it. I also will say this: being the parent on a vacation and seeing what you have to pay for to make a child have memories, it's a lot. And I have a whole level of different respect for my parents, what they had to kick out, because my brother and I were we were heathens, and we ate a lot, and we were constantly at the boardwalk. We were constantly in arcades. We were constantly everywhere, and it takes a lot to make that work. And for her to have the time that she had, and to tell me how much she loved being down the beach, even still talking about it this morning, being back a whole 24 hours. Yeah, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I'll work hours on end if it meant having that experience. Plus,
Yep.
she was with her grandparents, and my father-in-law has created a monster, almost as much as if not more than I have.
Mr. Mark creating
Yes.
monsters.
Yes, because if she doesn't get it from me, she's getting it from him. And we said one thing. We said, Tim, hey Aubrey, you're not coming back from Ocean City with a bunch of stuffed animals, and we literally had to buy another bag to bring back her stuffed animals. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, that's great.
But yes, that Fat Boy Summer ended up being a good time. I got to try a couple places I've never been. Tap House is like the ideal like Bayside bar, nice view, good bar food down there. Went to Belly Busters. My in-laws got crabs. I ended up getting a sub from there, but that's like a cool little spot. We were across the street from them. So
Best
yeah,
dessert,
I'm looking
best
forward.
dessert.
Oh, Saltwater 75.
Okay.
That chocolate mousse was that. I didn't eat both of them. To the people that were calling me a fat ass for posting the picture of 2 desserts, I did not eat both of them. My wife and her mom shared the lemon meringue thing, but I slightly shared the chocolate one. Yeah, I don't like sharing food a whole lot. That's my thing.
Before we get out of here, though, I have it ready for you, and I couldn't go, another week without it. Here's your guess that Oriole, and it's not a good one this week. It's depressing.
Oh, this almost has to be Mateo or Urias or somebody. Let me pull it up. Plate appearances 41.
This is over the last 10 games.
Is that Adley?
5 for 41, average of 139.
Oh, Mountcastle.
Nope, you were right. Adley Rutschman.
Adley, right? Oh my God, it's absolutely terrible.
You want to tell me something's not going on there?
I'm gonna go with the theory that's been going around on Twitter. I think he's got a broken heart right now, and my man needs to kind of right the ship.
Some people are saying that it's not true because she posted a TikTok with him, and then some people are saying that it is true because the TikTok is, like not true. I don't know. I think he's got some personal outside stuff going on, but I don't care what you got going on. Your last 10 games, you're batting 139. You're 5 for 41. I think I remember a certain Jackson Holiday that would have lined up to be around like 3 for 41 or something like that. And people were calling for his head to go back to the minors. He's 5 for 41. Something ain't right.
Yeah.
As Stephanie just said, the splits between DH and, catching are absolutely insane. It's something's going on. We better get out of here and end this podcast before Pigtown weighs in on it, because he is high on the what the hell's up with Adley horse right now.
He said it. The girlfriend broke his heart. He is broken hearted.
Oh yeah! Shout out to the special edition behind me. Added a new
have a Mateo jersey.
Oh, a special one too, anniversary.
Yeah, I see the old Oriole bird on it. And what Mullins? No, we're not doing this anymore.
No, we rocked them. We decided to put the Mullins up there today because of he literally.
That's recency bias, though. It's recency bias.
Henderson stays there. We switched out the Mullins and Mateo today. Usually I go because a lot of times we're on when Corbin's pitching or the day after Corbin's pitching. So usually I have Burns and then I swap out Adley and whoever else. But we decided to go Mateo to flex the new addition, and then Mullins for the walk off today.
Put up Brandon Fahey.
I'm gonna pull out the BJ Surhoff. We'll hang.
So before we cut the show off, my father-in-law was watching a random TV show when we were on vacation. Jim Palmer was on a house hunting show in Los Angeles.
What?
Yeah. And he walked into this mansion and the person, the realtor was like, oh, and Jim Palmer was like, how much is it? And my father-in-law was telling it to me. He's like, oh, it's 20 million. And Jim Palmer's like, Buddy is worth $3 million. Like,
yeah.
Is your boy Daddy David buying Palmer a mansion in Los Angeles, or what is going? Like, I didn't know what was going on.
Nope.
It was crazy. Like that's like the most random Oriole thing in the world. And I know that Jim Palmer literally does whatever he wants.
He does. Include some of his comments or whatever he wants.
Yes.
He ain't scared.
But yeah, that was just a interesting little quip I wanted to throw in there.
I was honestly kind of mad. Just real quick, one last thing about Jim. I was kind of mad that Jim didn't call the game when the benches cleared because I would have loved to heard his 2 cents on that.
Yeah, you know, I would definitely love to hear that as well.
All right.
So, All-Star break, we reconvene the second half of the MLB season. I believe Friday night against the Texas Rangers in Texas.
Yes. Interesting.
Any second half bold predictions from Mr. Malarkey?
Gunner, get your 40. That's not bold. That's happening.
So I can eat my piece of leather, as your wife graciously puts it.
This might be wishful thinking, but I'll count it as a bold prediction. 66 games left. Let's see. I think we see Mayo come up late August to still maintain his eligibility for Rookie of the Year next year. So it'll be late August that he comes up so that timeline matches. And I say that including postseason, we're going to go with lucky number 7. 7 home runs for Kobe Mayo by the end of the season.
Okay. My bold prediction for the second half of the year, we finish 43-23. I believe we maintain our winning percentage going in. And I do believe we crush your predicted wins total. And I believe.
Remember my predicted wins total?
I think it was 105.
105.
105. So, with that being said, I believe that's a minimum we go 43-23 the rest of the way out. I could say we could possibly go 50-26 high end. I believe Mayo is here before the trade deadline. And I am predicting we add a third or fourth starter come July 30th. I believe it'll be a third or fourth starter. Not anybody big.
Nobody big. I'm sold on that one already. It's tough. I'm going to give you my 66 games. Let me think here. 66 games. 47 wins. Say 47 wins.
Fair. Very fair. That'll do it, folks. I believe you're on vacation next week.
I am. We leave Saturday. And then we return Thursday, but I guess Friday will be my first day to be like back and active and stuff.
Okay, so we may be back in not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. We may have another episode of Foul Ball Talk to end out July.
Yep.
Enjoy your vacation, sir. I know that we talk every day, but Tim, where can everybody find you and your wife being a menace on social media? Because I went on her page today by accident because I was reading something that you wrote, and and she gives hell on a daily basis. She needs to go back to school, buddy.
You can find me T_Malarkey. I'm warning you, if you're going to go look now, the last 5 days have been rather rough on there. I do have a warning in my headline that there might be some foul language involved. It's been a rough day to be an Orioles fan, especially when the Yankees fans like to find your account and come troll you, which is fine, but it'll settle down in a couple days. We'll get back to normal. There won't be as much shade, and we'll get back to the statistics and the funny memes and stuff like that. But T_Malarkey on X, Twitter.
All right, folks, that'll do it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for the engagements and the comments. This has been brought to you by Driving to the Top Productions Podcasting Network, and we are officially signing off for the evening.